Welcome, students. We are going to start our new chapter, that is turbulent flow. So we will discuss about in this chapter. We will discuss about the turbulency, the how when and how the flow becomes turbulence, and the characteristics of the turbulence, then governing equations, then the flow through the different pipes or like smooth and rough pipes. We are going to discuss in this chapter, and we will try to develop some mathematical relations for the characterize the turbulence flow for the different conditions for the different situations. So let us start this chapter, turbulent flow. So first of all, what is this turbulency? We will discuss this. So far, we in our basics electronics, we always discuss about the flow which is laminar. Flow which is laminar. Now laminar means the orderly flow. The orderly flow means there is a disciplined flow. The fluid layers that are parallel to each other during the flow. But in the case of turbulent flow, such type of behavior not been observed in this turbulent flow. In the turbulent flow, you will find that flow are in a random behavior or in a zigzag manner. Means the fluid layer are not in a discipline; they are random in a zigzag manner. So you can't predict which type of behavior it will have because it is random. In other words, you can also say that the turbulent means the breakdown of the laminar nature. When the laminar nature in any flow, like consider example of flow through the pipe. So when the laminar is getting breakdown, then turbulence will come into play. So the breakdown of this laminar is called the turbulent. And as we have discussed in our basics fluid mechanics that beyond a certain Reynolds number we get this turbulent behavior, and by turbulency it is implied that the flow parameters like velocity, pressures at any point in the flow medium are continuously fluctuating from a mean point, from a mean velocity, from a mean pressure. Like so, in the turbulent flow, you will always find two types of velocity, like mean velocity and fluctuating velocity. So in the turbulent flow, you will find that fluid is fluctuating, like fluid is fluctuating from the mean. So this is our the mean components, and the other parameters is fluctuating from this mean component. So this is the turbulence which implied in the flow when the parameters of the flow is getting fluctuating from the mean component. And that fluctuation in fact is in the random behavior in the zigzag manner, so we can't predict. But ultimately, by using some statistical average of those quantity, we can expect some mathematical relation, which we will discuss later in this chapter. How this mathematical relations will help out to simulate this fluctuating component in equations or in expressions. So now here we have experiments, and that is performed by the Reynolds, Osborne Reynolds, a very classical experiments of Reynolds. So here we will discuss what Reynolds has performed here. So initially he has considered a container, and there is a flux. He attached a flux here, And there is a bell mouth. This is called the bell mouth. Uh, Bell mouth open face here. This is the bell mouth. So he used bell mouth so that there should not be any hindrance or obstacle when the flow is entering from this flux to this pipe. So that's where he used the bell mouth face, and here he attached valve, for closing and opening of this flow. And in these experiments, Reynolds considered two cases. First, for the laminar case. So, what will happen in this laminar case? Try to understand. When the velocity of water is sufficiently low, when the velocity of water is very low, in that case, he found that the dye which is inserted through this flux, is coming into this pipe, is parallel to the wall of this pipe, which is parallel to the wall of this pipe. So dye color is parallel, dye color is parallel like this, parallel to the wall of this pipe for the very low velocities, which indicates the laminar flow, like here. So this is our laminar flow. Flow characteristics. Now in the case 2, he increases the velocity beyond a certain value, and he found that the color filament begins to oscillate, and ultimately further increment in the velocity, the dye is completely diffused into the water. And when these situations arises, when the dye is completely lost their identity in the fluid medium, when the dye which is coming through this flux and then through this pipe is completely losing their identity in this pipe. It means it is getting mixed up with the fluid which is in the container and loses its identity. So with this increment in the velocity, Reynolds observed that the dye is losing their identity, and this is the case of the turbulent. It means that the fluid is getting fluctuating and getting dissolved into the another medium. So this is the case of the turbulent. So this is called the turbulent behavior. Now in the laminar flow, as I told that there is always a mean velocity component. There is no fluctuating component in laminar. But in the turbulent flow, we have a mean component along the fluctuating components, and this fluctuating component is the main region of the turbulence. This fluctuating component is the main reason of the turbulence. Now, this fluctuating velocity, component is always expressed in the terms of time and space. It means that fluctuating component is a time variable and a space variable. So when it is a time variable, this is called the temporal variation, and when it varies with a space from one point to another point, this is called the spatial variation. Now, in general, what flow you find in the nature, almost all flows are the turbulent, except the flow near the wall, which is laminar. This is an exceptional case. Rather than that, most of the flows you will find in the nature like the turbulent flow. So examples, we have some examples like flow of water in river and flow of air near surface of earth. So these are some examples of this turbulent flow in nature. Okay, now fluctuating and time averaging. So we will discuss here what is this fluctuation. As I told you that in the turbulent flow there are fluctuating component along with the mean component. So what is this fluctuating and what is this mean? We are going to discuss here. So let us consider this diagram. Uh, Here in this diagram we have a velocity component in the y-axis and in the x coordinate we have a time. So now here we can see that here we have a line, this line which is parallel to this x-axis, which is parallel to the x-axis, and we have another line which is in a zigzag manner, which is above and below, of this mean line. So this above and below of the mean line is the fluctuating velocity. And this is our mean component. And this is the square root of the square of the fluctuating velocity. Square of the fluctuating. So this we will discuss later. This term we will discuss later. So first of all, let us clear about the mean and fluctuating components. So it was observed on the mean direction of axis that exits a superimpose motion in the mean motion at right angle. So it means like fluctuating and mean components. Now let us consider velocity. Here we are expressing the velocity here. This. So this is for the steady laminar flow here. U is the function of x, y, z. V is the function of x, y, z, and W is the x, y. Function of x, y, z for the steady laminar case. But for the turbulent case here, look at this. It is the function of space coordinate and it is the function of time coordinates here. So thus, if u is equal to x, y, z is the x component of the instantaneous velocity. So let us consider an instantaneous velocity, this u. So we are considering an instantaneous component of velocity, x component of instantaneous velocity, then its time mean. So time mean means this. Time means we are considering an instantaneous velocity and we are taking a time mean of this velocity from t0 to t naught to t naught plus t, and this is our time under which we are considering the mean velocity. So this time interval is considerably longer than the period of the longest fluctuations. So this time interval, the time interval which we are going to consider here should be longer than the maximum fluctuating component. So this t should be greater than the longest fluctuating period. Longest fluctuating period means the velocity which is getting fluctuating for the long time from the mean velocity. So this is a fluctuating time. So this is the diagram for the unsteady case. This is our time for the longest, and this is for the short. So we are considering here for the longest time, that is t1. And now the fluctuating part of the velocity here. Here the fluctuating part of the velocity, that is varying portion that differs from the average velocity. So here we are considering the velocity which is the combination of the mean velocity and the fluctuating components. So that is our fluctuating component part. So we are considering the time averaging of this fluctuating component. So time average, this is the time average of the fluctuating component. So when we will consider the time average of this fluctuating component, here look at this. will come out with the expression here this, and ultimately will get 0. So time averaging of this fluctuating component, will ultimately gives you 0. So now the question is why we are getting the averaging of this fluctuating component is 0. So for this we will see this diagram. The time average of this fluctuating component is come out 0 because this fluctuating component is equally distributed above and below the mean line. It means like negative and positive is equally distributed from the mean line. So that's why when you are taking an average of this fluctuating component which is equally distributed above and below the mean line is coming out 0. So this is the main reason here. So therefore this ut time dependent for the steady, but u, that is the u dash, that is the fluctuating component, time dependent due to the fluctuation. So this is the time dependent due to the fluctuation, but this mean component time independent for the steady case. It means that is your mean component can be steady flow, but your fluctuating component will never be a steady flow. It will always be a time dependent due to the fluctuating nature of this velocity components. So that's why we can say that turbulent is inherently a unsteady problem. Turbulent is inherently a unsteady problem. So therefore we can express this in this form, that this can be a time independent, but this is the time dependent due to this fluctuating components. So this is known as Reynolds. The Reynolds decomposition principle to specify the velocity field in the turbulent flow. So this is your Reynolds decomposition principle. Therefore, the flow field can be expressed in the three-dimensional case. We can express this as a u, v, and w component. Now, we will discuss here some characteristics of the turbulent flow. It means how we can characterize this turbulent flow. So to characterize this, we have some parameters. So first of all, the intensity of turbulence. The intensity of turbulence, it means the degree of turbulence, means how your fluctuating component is moving far from this mean component. So that is your degree of turbulence, intensity of turbulence, and which is mathematically expressed as this, that is the relative magnitude of root mean square value of the fluctuating component, with respect to the time mean velocity. So this is your root mean square value of the fluctuating component. This is your mean component. So when we are considering this with reference to this mean component, this will give you a intensity of the turbulence. Now we know that the averaging of the fluctuating component, this here, is 0. So why we are considering the square root mean square here is the reason that if you will consider the direct averaging of this fluctuating component, it will come out 0, as we have seen here. This is so considering the direct average value of the fluctuating component, it will give us 0. But when we take a square of the fluctuating component, taking a square first and then averaging, it will not come out 0. So that's why here first we are doing a square and then taking average, so that the 0 will not come out. So that's why this is the reason we consider the root mean square value of the fluctuating components. So by squaring you will not give 0. It may be 0 due to some other reason, but it will always be greater than 0. So this is your root mean values. Now for instance, consider the isotropic case where the velocity fluctuating the square root mean square values of the fluctuating component for both for all the directions like x, y, and z is equal. When this equal, then this is called the isotropic condition. In that case, I will finally come out with this equations which will give you the intensity of turbulence. Now, we will discuss the correlation functions. Since turbulent motion is an irregular motion and by definition it is an aiding motion, therefore statistical correlation can be applied as at the start of this lecture I told you that since the fluctuating component is random and it is zigzag manner, but with the use of this statistical manner somehow we are able to characterize this turbulent flow. So how we will see here how we can characterize this. Suppose in the flow field we have a different fluctuating velocities at different time. So we have a flow field and we are considering the different fluctuating velocities at two different times. Like at t is equal to 0 we have the fluctuating component this u naught dash, and at t is equal to t1 we have the fluctuating component this. So then correlation coefficient between these two fluctuating velocity is given by this, by statistical correlation. By statistical correlation, we will find that the correlation coefficient between these two velocities is given as this. Now look at here, this is the fluctuating component. So fluctuating component multiplying fluctuating component and taking average will never come out 0, and here we are considering the root mean square, so it will not come out 0. And this physically signifies that how the fluctuating velocity at any instant of time correlates the fluctuating velocity at any other instant of time t1. It means at time 5 seconds and time 7 seconds, what is the relationship between the fluctuating velocity components, which is described by this relation. At the same point, means we are considering two different times but at the same point, like 5 seconds and after 2 seconds it is 7 seconds. What is the relationship between these two? So this is characterized by this equation. So this is called this physically it signifies this correlation, which signifies this correlation, this which is physically signifies the correlation between the two different time at the same point. Now let us consider a diagram here. We will understand this by the diagram. Initially, suppose the correlation coefficient here, the value of correlation coefficient is 0. It means there is no correlation between the two time, t0 and t1. And if it is coming 1, it is a strong correlation, means full correlation, means they have very strongly related to each other. It means the first time effect is affecting the other time aspect with a full correlation, with a strong correlations. This. So this is your graph at value 1. This, and as the time this when you will draw a graph, so with time you will find that this correlation coefficient is getting decreases. But at 0 time, like we are considering a very short time span, like t is equal to time is equal to 1 second and time is equal to 2 seconds, you will find a good correlation, a strong correlation. But when you will increase this interval, like 1 second and then 1 minute, you will get some decreased value of this correlation coefficient. Means the effect of the at this point, at any particular point, with time is decreases, means the relationship between the two times is getting decreases. Means the effect of the at that point with time is getting decreases. Now this area under this curve will give you the that is temporal characteristics. When you will consider the area and will integrate this from 0 to infinity, will come out with a term that is called the temporal characteristics. And when you will multiply this velocity, this fluctuate this time with this temporal characteristics with fluctuating components, when you will multiply this, you will come out with a scale which is called the Lagrange's scale of turbulence. So this is your Lagrange's scale of turbulence, which is ultimately come out when we will take the integration from 0 to infinite, from this 0 to infinite time, will come out with the temporal characteristics. And then when you multiply this velocity component, fluctuating velocity component, will give a scale which is called the Lagrange. This is scale of turbulence. Now consider another case, two different points at the same time. So this is the two different in a flow field, in a pipe, in a flow of pipe. Suppose 2 points, but at the same time. So what is the relationship between these 2 points for the same time? Means the relationship between the fluctuating components at the 2 points, these 2 points for the same time. So this is your correlation coefficient for the 2 different points, but for the same time. And here we have a graph. So at as your distance will move, means as your distance is very near, you will get a strong correlation. Like from this graph you can understand, but as your distance will move away, your correlation coefficient will decrease. So it means at very near to each other, it will give you a strong correlation, and very far, it will give a no correlations. It means the effect of the one point on the another point are very strong when they are very nearer to each other, and the relationship between the two fluctuating components at the 2 points is not is very less when they are very apart from each other. So this can be simulated by this equation of the statistical equation that RR. So turbulence is characterized by its intensity. And one more point here, when we will consider the integration of this correlation coefficient with R, we will come out with a term that is L1, which is the integration of this correlation coefficient of this integration of this graph will give you a Eulerian scale of turbulence. This will give you a Eulerian scale of turbulence, and it is proportional to the size of the eddies. Since this turbulent flow is due to the fluctuating component, this will ultimately give rise to eddies. So as your eddy's size is large, the effect is more for the fluctuating components. Effect of fluctuating component is more. So this is your and the Eulerian scale of turbulence is directly related to the size of the eddies. So turbulence is characterized by the intensity and length scale. So by utilizing these 3 terms like intensity and correlations for the time and Eulerian and Lagrangian scales, you can characterize the turbulence flow. Now, see, this turbulent flow in practice consists of a wide spectrum of scales, like ranging from the dimension of molecular mean free path, molecule means which is the fluid medium which is made up of, so molecular mean free path and the length of the geometry in which they are flowing. So this turbulent flow has a wide spectrum of scales range. And now today we will stop here and we will continue in the next lecture. Thank you everyone.